whole time I walked out backwards and around the corner out of sight, that thing was still standing there watching me. There's someone in there. Who's up here?
Yeah, except... In 2018, we made our very first visit to West Virginia Penitentiary. This imposing Gothic structure was built in 1876 and operated until 1995. Said to be one of the most violent prisons in the USA, it has seen its fair share of death. Over 1,000 prisoners died at the West Virginia Penitentiary. 100 died by execution, at first with hanging, but later using Old Sparky, the electric chair, especially after one of the hangings went horribly wrong. We now leave it to our guide, Jason, to give you an idea of the conditions that both the guards and the prisoners had to endure.
The living conditions were so terrible in here. A lot of the sewage from the cells above us would drip down the walls of these cells.
Oh.
The plumbing was so bad on the first floor on either side that when an inmate flushed this commode, it would back up in the sinking commode of the next cell down, and then the next and the next. And it would keep doing that until it worked its way out of the plumbing down here. Foul smelling would have been in here. How easy they could have gotten sick, as insanitary as this was.
Yeah.
Of course, the vermin thrived. You know, the rats up here, I've been told, were the size of cats and small dogs, almost like possums. They would find their ways into the plumbing of the cells and crawl out of these commodes right next to the inmates. And then they're locked in these cells with the rats that keep crawling out. But you remember, though, earlier I told you that at one point in time they had almost 3,000 inmates here. It was so overcrowded. It was a little over 2,700. But when they had that many guys here in the prison, these exact same cells used to have 2 bunks each, and they put 3 men into each one of these cells.
Wow.
They had a mattress on the floor. This was a very stressful environment for the guards to work in. This was always chaotic. Guards weren't supposed to work up here more than a month at a time for their mental well-being. A lot of the guards who worked in here got ulcers. It was just a terrible place. They would find all kinds of ways to conceal these weapons before they used them. They would tie them to a string and throw it through the vent on the back side of the cell. They would slip the weapons into body cavities. They would take that shank, and sometimes if they were desperate enough, they would cut the back of their leg wide enough and deep enough and use the stab wound as a pocket, and then walk around the prison with it until they needed it. They'd pull it out of the stab wound. So you can imagine if you were a guard, the kinds of things you'd have to think about when you left your family to come work here, is it would be bad enough to get stabbed with a shank, but you imagine if you got stabbed with a shank that was carried inside a guy's leg who had hepatitis or AIDS. Sometimes I'll walk in here and it's just, even by myself at this time, or 2 or 3 in the morning, I'll walk up here by myself. Maybe it'll be kind of quiet. I don't feel too much. But then other times I'll walk up here and I'm like, I can't get out of here fast enough.
Yeah.
In fact, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was here with Ryan. We were just getting ready to start getting everything ready to bring a group in for the nighttime. And I got up to the doors down here at the end that we'll see in a little bit. And as soon as I got up to the doors, I heard what sounded to be very clearly, sounded like 2 men in here talking back and forth. And it was kind of low voices. And, I've been in here a lot of times in the prison and heard disembodied voices. And it's just, I'm like, oh, wow, that's awesome, and I'll continue. But something about that, when I heard those 2 voices, I just got a bad feeling. And I literally turned around and I went back to the lobby. And that's rare for me. You can ask Ryan.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to shake me up. But November of '86, Danny Lehman was lured up to near cell 20 on the other end by members of the Aryan Brotherhood. They picked him up off the ground, began to stab him. They ended up taking about an 11-inch long ice pick shaped shank. They shoved it through his eye and it pierced his brain. When the nurse came down to remove the shank, it had a little crook on the end of it, so when they pulled it out, it actually made his eyeball rest on his cheek. And like I say, his cell, though, was cell number 2 on the other side, but he was killed in front of cell 20. And like I say, his nickname was Spider, so if you don't get a response with Danny or Danny Lehman, you may want to call him out by Spider. It was really bright. And the flashlight was out, and I could see the light was passing by cell 17 here on behind this mesh partition. Well, something stepped out of that cell sideways, and when it stepped out, it just walked out evenly to where it was already facing my direction. And I could tell it walked out because something blocked the light out from my flashlight from going any further. instantly. I got goosebumps, hair on the back of my neck stood up. I knew something wasn't right. And I stood down there for actually about 6 or 7 seconds staring at this thing, because I thought, I don't want to continue walking towards it, but I don't want to turn my back on it. And after about 6 or 7 seconds, I thought the best thing for me to do is just turn around backwards and walk out, so I never turn my eyes off. And the whole time I walked out backwards and around the corner out of sight, that thing was still standing there watching me. And then once I was out of sight, I booked it as fast as I could down to the lobby. There's someone in there. That is it. Silence my phone.
Yeah.
Once in a while you'll hear a few pops and stuff from the ceiling where the metal's contracting and things. But I mean, you know, when you're up there for a little while, you kind of assimilate and you get used to it. That does not sound like it's natural. But those are the kind of noises.
That's above us.
Those are the kind of noises you'll hear up there. A lot of banging and knocking and footsteps, doors slamming.
That first noise we heard definitely to me sounded like a cough.
Yes, even that, we've heard coughing up there. Disembodied voices.
You done
Y'all like to.
that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now I'll tell you, up here it's very confrontational, so this may continue even when we're up here.
Okay, let's go.
We'll see how this goes. Who's up here?
Well, we stand here.
Oh, it's still looking good, sorry.
I was gonna say, oh wow.
Good, not usually as loud as this.
No, not usually.
Coming from every direction, isn't it?
That's another thing about it up here. Sometimes it's almost like it'll corner you or it'll surround you. We also get a lot of footsteps and sounds of people running up these stairs. You'll hear it. I've been here before and I've been lured to this stairwell from the sound of running. And I'm going to look over to see what I'm hearing. And as soon as I'm standing here looking, I'll hear running coming down this way. So it's like it'll try and close in on you. This was the elevator where they brought them out.
Oh, God.
Okay.
They take them into the...
So you wouldn't get something like raccoons or
Once in an occasional while we'll get raccoons.
up on the...
But even when they're in here, it's never that loud.
Okay. So did you want to join us tonight? So did you want to join us tonight?
Oh, well, I mean, that's strictly up to you all. That.
No, we'd love to have you.
Well, I mean,
It's going to be this active.
If it's going to be this, I'm not going up here on my own.
well,
No, actually, we always like to have somebody who knows, because you know the sounds, you know the history, and if we're getting anything interesting, you know. But that's up to you if you want to come with us.
anytime y'all like for me
Yeah,
to join on, just
yeah,
let me
especially
know.
in here.
Yes, it'll get dead quiet.
Yeah, except it's almost like it's throwing things.
It does. Earlier this year...
What's above us?
Just the roof. Just the roof, honestly. And, you know, it was earlier this year, Ryan and I were up here, and we were standing right at this door hearing noises very much like what we're hearing now. And Ryan said, come on, make this place come alive.
Yeah.
And as soon as he said that, that sounded like popcorn up there in the ceiling.
Yeah.
It started right here above us. It went right down to the big rung here in the middle of the floor, and then all the way back above us, and then back. It was like, it's like a machine gun going back and forth. I mean, unnatural sounding. I mean, it's crazy.
Is there anybody down there? We're live from the West Virginia Penitentiary, and I'm with our lovely guide here. Is it Jason? Yes, Jason. We've come up to the medical area, and it is going off, and this is why. We're only on a tour at the moment, and it's pretty tense up here.
We actually, when before we came in, this sounded like somebody, a male coughing, didn't they, Jason?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, shit.
Sometimes it's almost impossible to just come up here by yourself, because you get to the top of this landing and you look down there, and even if it's dead quiet, sometimes just standing here, you will hit, you get this very ominous feeling, and it's enough for, I know me personally, to turn me around. And sometimes I'll refuse to come up here by myself. Other times I'll do it, but it just, like I was telling you earlier, it really depends on the gut feeling.
Yeah. Seems to have gone quiet again with only little clicks, but it was.
Yeah.
We had a cough. Shit.
Oh, wow.
That's in here. And behind us.
That's the old dentist room.
Far out.
Far out. That goes beyond any building movement, and it's coming from everywhere. What was that sound?
That was right in that room.
What the? What on earth?
It's crazy.
Isn't it?
It's been a long time since I've heard it this noisy up here.
So this isn't usual.
No, not by any stretch of the means, no.
But we are coming back. Now we know we can get signal here. And we'll bring some equipment with us. A lot of it's coming from down in this bottom room here. That was in the room to the side. Where was the footsteps?
Yes, it was.
Behind us.
On the stairs, remember?
Yeah, you said on the staircase, didn't you?
Yes.
All right, that was footsteps on the staircase behind us, guys.
Is that the way out?
Is that the only way out?
There's another
Oh.
stair.
We're all right, guys. There's another way out of here. Which one?
In that room, sometimes people have talked about feeling like a weight on their chest, or like a static sensation around their face.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy. It is rarely like this up here. Very, very, very rare.
We haven't been along here either, so... Oh, these paintings are beautiful. Is this done by the prisoners?
It sure is. Actually, all the paintings up here were done by Danny Lehman. He's the guy they called Spider.
Oh,
And he was the Avenger gang leader that was killed in North Hall.
We're invading your space. Whoop, shit. Is that yes? Oh, so you had a psych ward.
We did, sure enough.
So were these, what, the patients that were what they would have called back then criminally insane, or?
Exactly.
Okay.
Sure enough. Yes, these were guys who attempted to commit suicide. A lot of guys that would cut themselves. A lot of them that were just flat out psychotic.
Okay.
big thick door.
Hey?
Big thick door.
God, it is big and thick, isn't it?
An inmate who was on the toilet, the farthest toilet over against the wall in here in the bathrooms.
Yeah.
And he was on the toilet and he cut his femoral artery in there and took his life.
Okay.
A lot of EVPs have been captured near this bathroom.
Could
So we
that
don't
go
know if
later?
it's- had an inmate in this psych ward one day. He kept telling everyone up here, he said, "I'm leaving this place today, I'm leaving." And he was serving a life sentence. They said, "No, you're going to be here for a while." And he kept saying, "I'm going to leave this place today." Finally, he said it one last time. And someone looked at him. They said, "Well, how are you going to do that?" And he said, "Like this." And he grabbed two pencils and shoved one in each eye.
Oh.
And he shoved them in at an angle. And when he pulled them out, they said it actually ripped his eyeballs out of his head.
Oh.
And he miraculously survived.
Yeah.
And he was right. He left the prison that day and they sent him down to the Weston Hospital. That was the old state hospital for West Virginia. And there to the right, there's 2 small psych cells in it. They're both locked up, but that was used for suicide watch.
Okay. Oh, these cells here.
Yes.
Okay. Gosh, they're tiny, aren't they?
They are.
See if we can see in them.
Place when they're naked, that way they have no clothes to hurt themselves. They keep them in there for hours at a time.
God, that must be behind there.
Wow. It's almost like you're chasing your tail. You come down to this one end where the sounds are, and then all of a sudden you're getting them at the other end. This was incredibly, well, as you heard when we came on, this was incredibly noisy down here, and now it's not. Okay, well, I reckon we go and get the gear. Far out.
Wow.
That's a good one.
Yes, it was.
But we have a tour to finish, guys. We've already done 2 hours. We were only going to get an hour and a half, weren't we?
Oh, you
Oh, shit.
did you hear that?
What on earth was that?
That was so loud, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
That was right next
That
to
was
us.
right next to me.
Sounded like something falling, but there's nothing there.
No, nothing there at all.
Okay, we're going to go and get some equipment. We'll come back. That's from behind us and in front of us at the same time. The West Virginia Penitentiary.
Highly recommended.
Wow. Did you see that, Jason? It sounded like somebody fired off a shotgun in the room that I was in.
Okay, it feels like somebody's tugging at something in my... Have I got my phone in the back pocket? Shit.